You are tuned in to What Up Baltimore online radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed are of the host and not of Lady J Media. Thank you and enjoy the show. Just a quick reminder that there are several ways to tune in, listen, and watch our shows. You can join us on our radio station, What Up Baltimore Online Radio. You can also check out our podcast under Lady J Media, or you can watch us on YouTube at What Up Baltimore TV, the People Station. And guess what? We're even on Twitter. You can watch us live, What Up Baltimore TV. Check us out on IG as well, and our Facebook page, What Up Baltimore and What Up Baltimore Online Radio. There's no excuse for you not to tune in. Hey, my name is Lady J, and I'm the owner of LadyJ Media, Buddafly Entertainment. Now, don't go anywhere because we have some really great shows coming up for you. I'd like to invite you to be a part of LadyJ Media. If you want to have a show, let me know. My number is 443-297-4753, or you can email me at ladyjwub@gmail.com. That's ladyjwub@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow that butterfly because you never know where she's going to land. Thank you for joining Mental Wellness Coaching with DWendell. Your session begins right now.
Good evening. How are you today? Um, Today we're going to talk about DWendell, a um, a leadership coach. I've been a practicing now retired social worker for over 30 years. Social worker, psychoanalyst, psychotherapist, over 30 years. I made the transition um, after I retired to coaching. Mainly because coaching affords me the opportunity to reach such a broad realm. The area that I do my specialty, that I focus on primarily, is depression and anxiety as far as mental wellness. I would like to share something with you, please. Um, Only a small percentage, and I'm reading, only a small percentage of people in the United States live in a state of optimal health, a condition that has been defined as complete physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social well being, with peak vitality, optimal personal performance, and high productivity. My question today for you is, how are you living? How are you living? How are things going? We're dealing with a pandemic or the pandemic, and we're also dealing with day-to-day life activities. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. Normally, my show is on earlier uh, on Wednesday. I'm normally on between noon and 1 p.m. Today is a little bit late start because the devil or forces that be in the world have come up against us so strongly today. You know, one of the things that I like to share with you is the reality that you cannot control the circumstances that come into your life, the environment, the things that happen. The only control that you have is how you respond to that event, how you respond to that life event. And we find that people uh, respond to stress in so many different ways. And we know that when we respond to stress in a negative, stressful way, we more often than not cause a undue stress upon our body. And part of what part of what I'm teaching, coaching about, is how to take control of these thoughts that enter our brain, enter our mind, and what to do with them. So today again, we're sharing about the relationship. The name of the program that we coach people through is One Mind, One Heart. One Mind, One Heart. Because your body and your mind are constantly seeking equilibrium, seeking for everything to be balanced out and or to be balanced, just in balance. And so when it's out of balance, the body compensates. The body comes down. We have all these diseases, problems, can't sleep at night, stress, hair falling out, not mentally sound, not mentally acute. That creates a problem. One mind, one heart strives to, or we do instruct how to make that balance happen. How you can create, how you can create um, the balance. What does it take? And again, it's a 21 day, 5 week program. In the program, we talk about the mental wellness. How to be mentally strong. And again, the title of it, or the name of the program, is One Mind, One Heart. So what happens with the mind, the brain, your brain serves your mind. The mind is the broader aspect of who you are. The mind is what receives all the information from outside sources. For an example, the only way that we get information from the outside of ourselves, is through the five senses: see, smell, hear, touch, see, smell, hear, help me out, see, smell, hear, feel, and taste. Thank you so much. See, smell, hear, feel, and taste. And so when this information from around us attempts to come into our being, for an example, let's just take a moment. Let's pause for a moment and pay attention for to everything that's going on around you. Everything that's going on around you. What do you hear? spend a moment here. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? And so these are the way, this is the way if we receive information from the outside world through those five senses. Those five senses lets the brain know what's going on. And the brain uh, gets the information and makes a decision. Your brain makes a decision, not apart from you, but your brain makes a decision to receive the information and then to interpret that information. So that's where the mind part of what we deal with comes in. The other part is the heart. The heart deals with the emotions. Every thought that you have, every thought, comes with an accompanying emotion, a feeling about what you're thinking. And whatever that emotion is, between the emotion and the thought, between the feeling and the thought, is how we get behavior. It's what we get in action. It's how we interpret that. Now, the interpretation is what's key because most times, or a lot of times, um, people react out of habit. It's some way that they've been thinking about a particular thing for years or for months, whatever. It's the way they've been thinking about it, and they've learned to respond. They've learned to allow their emotions or their feelings to respond in a specific way. We are saying that you can control that thought, and because the mind, the brain serves the mind. So when you are controlling the thought, when you think about what you're thinking about, very specific about what I said. When you think about what you're thinking about, then you have the opportunity to change the thought. If the thought is negative, you have an opportunity to reject that thought. The way we are built, the way God built us and designed us and created us. When you have a thought, a message is sent through your brain and new patterns of thought are created. If you stop a negative thought from entering into your brain and you think instead a positive, constructive thought, then the brain will pick up the positive thought and create new pathways, therefore sending a signal to your body to react in a more conducive, constructive way. You know, we understand, or we're learning to understand that you have much more control over things that happen than what you're giving yourself credit for. Um, what I mean by that, than what you're giving yourself credit for, it is the reality that you are not a victim. You're not a victim of your genetics. You're not a victim of your DNA. As a matter of fact, you can actually reconstruct it, reconstrue it, because when you realize and see the damage that is done. I've read in the past that if you knew the negative impact, take it back, change it. If you knew the power of your thoughts, the influence of your thoughts on your whole being, if you realize the power of your, you would never have a negative thought again. You would just refuse to do so. Again, your brain is servant to your mind. And that is the way God created us, which raises the question. Where is the foundation of your belief? Where is the strength of your decisions? What do you base your decisions on? So just for a moment, again, I'd like us to reflect. Look at your past life and everything that you decided, whatever outcomes you got. Those outcomes are a result of your thinking. Those outcomes are a result of your thinking and reacting to your thoughts. What would you do when you, and if you ever realize or learn that you could be a victor instead of a victim? You could be. That depression, for an example, that you're dealing with, that depression or anxiety, result of your thinking, especially during this time of the pandemic, when there's isolation, we're dealing with isolation, we're dealing with our own mental wellness issues and the stigmas that come associated with any mental illness, as it were. You can live above that. You can. I'd like to read one other thing to you, if you don't mind, please. I want to share this with you, that your brain needs nourishment, and the relationship between what you eat and your mental health and wellness is very strong. What goes on in the gut is fed to the brain. So the brain, again, in turn, receives its nourishment from what you eat. So let's think about it for a moment. If you are eating food that does not nourish you, there's no there's no life-giving force in the food you eat. How clear is your thinking? How on point is your attitude? Um, and oftentimes we realize we function off of habit more than thought thought processes, more habit. If someone steps on my foot, I react this way because that's the way I react. Because that's the way I've learned to react. That's what I've been doing the past 10, 15, 20, whatever the case may be. You can learn a new pattern. You can be happier in life. Would it surprise you at all if I told you that happiness comes from within and success follows happiness? You must, you must get control of, of your thoughts, or everything will be so much more difficult. Being a good husband, being a good father, being a good wife comes from your thoughts. It's the thought process, and therefore your behavior. Achieving anything in life comes from the thought process. Again, and you can learn. You can learn new habits. You can learn new ways of doing things. Wonderful opportunities lie before you. Wonderful opportunities. Chances, not even chance. It's the opportunity. Again, um, I want to share um, something um, something with you. Listen to this. Um, unless you first choose to get your mind right, unless you first choose to get your mind right and to switch on your brain, everything else will be such a severe challenge. You won't, you will not forgive that person who you feel has wronged you. You will not be able to get rid of anxiety and depression. You will not be able to follow that preventative health care plan that you wanted to do. You will not have the energy to strive uh, for that intellectual level that you're trying to attain to be a great parent. You will not be able to accomplish these things unless, again, you first choose to get your mind right. It begins with the thought. Now, why am I saying that? One of the things that if you took a realistic assessment of yourself and you realize that you in this life at this point you've come to maybe a plateau of as it were, and you intend every day to get up and walk a little bit. You intend to lose some weight and you intend all these are great intentions and outstanding goals which are difficult to reach. What I have found in my experience over the 30 years um, is that um, people, we as individuals, we will talk an outstanding game. Or I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. And we talk more than we do because what happens when tomorrow comes, you don't get up. Or maybe you get up a few times a month or whatever. But until you make the choice to make it a lifestyle change, that I'm not going to be this. For example, the day you were born, the day you were born into this earth, this planet, you were born for a reason, specifically. You're born for a reason. And that reason, at the day you were born, that reason wasn't so you could reach this point where you are in your life and be depressed. That reason you were born was not so you could be anxious about tomorrow or the future. The reason you were born was not so you could be overweight. The reason you were born was not so you could have cancer or different diseases that we deal with in our bodies and different infirmities. That's not why you were born. And I present to you today that you can change it. You have the capacity and the ability and the strength to change, to adapt a new lifestyle, a permanent lifestyle. As you see my gray hair, as I get older, I realize that this transitioning that I'm going through from a young person to a middle-aged person to an older person comes with some limitations. Diabetes, cancer, depression, heart disease. All of these things are not automatically attached to your DNA. You don't have to live out your life that way. It becomes an issue of making a choice. Will you change? Will you change and live out your remaining years on this planet? Live out your remaining years on this planet in a state of optimal health, being a benefit to other people, enjoying your children and your grandchildren, begins with a choice, your choice. You are the only one holding you back. Now, again, let's look at for a moment, let's look at diet. How important diet is. Diet research has shown contributes to mental wellness. The things we eat, the things we don't eat. And it gets to a point of where we just almost just give up, ready to give up. I don't feel like it. Diet plays a key role in that because uh, eating potato chips, drinking sodas, a fatty diet, those things contribute to your destruction and ultimately your death. I'm not a nutritionist, but I understand. I do understand though that everything you eat, for example, goes to your blood. Your blood feeds your heart, feeds the body, feeds the brain. So if you're not being nutritionally fit, it draws away from your life force. It draws away from your very being. We had talked about earlier once we started the radio program was how if some emotions that we have, we call them some deadly emotions, anger, unforgiveness, not letting go of things, um, uh, repressed anger, depression. All these things are killing you, literally killing you. And the reality is that there are some things that we can go through, that we can experience, that are worse than death. Understand? If you're suffering, if you're held together, quote unquote, by barbed wire, then you have to question your quality of life. I have seen many times over the years, people say to me, sitting in my office or before me, and they're going through an awesome time. It seems that their brain has turned against their body and their body is against their brain because they think one way and they feel another. They said to me, Mr. Smith, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z. I wish I had thought about it. I wish someone had told me. I'm saying to you today, this evening, that you can take control. You can have it the way you want to have it. Absolutely no question. It's a matter of a choice. I was in an organization some years ago, and one of the mottos, the mantra was plans change, decisions don't. Plans change, decisions don't. So the benefits of crossing over into the realm of where you take control, where you become that strong, wonderful person you were designed to be. So you can be a giver of life, actually giving life. So you can be a giver of life. The only difference is choosing. Now, let me help you. Let me help you understand another thing. Um, Once you make a choice of hope, or once you make a choice based in hope, your mind begins to create pathways of allowing that to come into its space. So you live hopefully. Your mind is energized. Your body is energized. And there's a coming together. It begins on so many fronts. It begins on the top part with your thinking. Ask yourself the question, what are you thinking about? What is on your mind? It is, I keep reiterating it. I keep reiterating it because it's so vital and so important. So extremely important. Because with its importance comes the reality that it is achievable. You can reach this. I worked with a gentleman once, and all he could do with his body, he could just move his arm up and down, move his arm up and down. So we began that process, not as a medical doctor, but the concept of doing what you can. And he worked that arm, he worked that arm, and he worked that arm. What happened in the process of even working the arm, he came to a different understanding about himself, about his capacity. Will you do that same thing? You know, for most people, most of us, we will at the time of a exciting event, we will get excited. I'm all in. I'm going to do this thing no matter what. As time passes, the desire to do it loses some of its luster. It's not as attractive, it's not as sexy, it's not as appealing as it once was. Um, that's not the best thing. That's not the best thing. As far as the diet, let me again, let me share another thought with you, please. Um, you know, there are two kinds, and we spoke about it earlier. There are there are two kinds of stress. One stress, which is the good stress, is classified as Eurostress. EUR, I think it's EURSTRESS. This is that happy stress. This is the stress that you have when you're planning for a vacation, packing the car in the process of doing that, getting to where you're going to be staying, or whatever. Uh, um, those that's good stress. That doesn't cause any damage to the body. But the other kind of self, I'm sorry, um, the other kind of stress is the stress of where it leads to something destructive. It leads to fear. It contributes to depression, anxiety. That's that other kind of stress. That stress to talk to you about you're not being worthy, you're not enough. You know, you never have this and you never have that. That's the bad. That's the bad kind of stress that we all go through at times. But it doesn't have to be that way. in the realm of mental health, um, we are often prescribed medication to do what your brain will do naturally. I'm not telling anyone to eat off their medication. You should stay on it for the time being. But those medications oftentimes make things worse. Um, listen, again, these drugs, the Prozac, the Paxil, the Celexa, various things, these drugs boost the activity uh, with chemicals. With chemicals. Now, what happens? The chemicals that you take often have more side effects than the problems that you're facing. So again, there is a way to eat more harmoniously with your body, so your body and your mind can work together, so your body and your emotions can be on the same page, so you can actually wake up and enjoy every day. Enjoy, keep learning. Always become an instrument of learning. Since this pandemic, we all have had to learn some new stuff. We've had to learn new ways of interacting, if we interact at all, or new ways to be socially distant. How do you keep your social distance? How do you keep your peace of mind? My friends, the One Mind, One Heart program is aimed, is constructed to help you get to and live a better life. Live your best life through thought, through thought. Once you discover the power of your thoughts, the power of your thoughts, the power of your thinking process over matter, or mind over matter, indeed. Um, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Try to be with me Monday, next Monday, and we will nail down our time at 12 o'clock. I'm on my show. It's from 12 to 1, 12 noon to 1 p.m. And we deal with the mental wellness, how to be mentally strong, how to stay mentally strong. It's one thing to get mentally strong, which I agree with, but to maintain that balance, to maintain yourself in a state of mental wellness all the time. You cannot be overtaken by depression or anxiety or disappointment. You refuse to let yourself be taken back by that. There is so much more ahead of you. So many wonderful opportunities coming your way. They're coming your way. Yes, they're coming your way. They're attainable, and you can hold on to them. So I'm speaking about something today that goes beyond whatever prescription a doctor may write for you. It goes beyond what you even can think or imagine. It goes beyond any disappointments and hurts. Yes, we have pains. We have things that disappoint us, no question. However, this program that we're talking about goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. It goes right up to the point of where you are just elated. Not a foolish grin, not a foolish hee hee ha ha, but a smile of confidence, of knowing that things are turning around for you. I think it's LaShawn Mitchell has a song that says they're turning around for me. They're turning around for me. So remember, remember, you have control. You have the power. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate our time together. I look forward to the next time we come together. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you're free to call me. The number is streaming down at the bottom, 240-626-6849. The email that you could reach out and ask questions. Always ask questions because therefore those are how you learn. The email is mind, MIND, heart, HEART, connection. Mind, heart, connection at iCloud.com. We will respond to your questions or your answer as rapidly as possible. Thank you and have a great